There was a time when every pint came with a ritual. Before the first sip, glasses were raised, eyes met across the table, and a few well-worn words sealed the moment. These weren't just toasts, they were codes of belonging, passed down through generations, in smoke-filled pubs and working men's clubs. Some were cheeky, some solemn, others downright baffling. But all of them carried the same message. You're part of something here. Today, most of these toasts have vanished, drowned out by the hum of smartphones and the clatter of card machines. But for those who remember, they still echo, fragments of a pub culture that once felt unshakable. Long before cheers, meh, became the standard, the Anglo-Saxons had their own toast. Ways hail, meaning be well or good health. According to legend, it was first spoken by the beautiful Rowena, who offered King Vortigern a cup of wine with those words in 450 AD. The king, enchanted, replied, "Drink hael, drink and be healthy," and a tradition was born. For centuries, variations of this ancient toast echoed through village inns and rural alehouses, especially during wassailing rituals at Christmas and harvest time. In working-class pubs well into the 20th century, older drinkers still raised their glasses with a hearty, good health. It was more than politeness. It was a blessing, a wish that everyone at the table would make it through another winter, another week, another shift. Today, almost no one says it. The phrase feels archaic, a relic of a time when health was fragile and community mattered more than convenience. But for those who remember hearing it from a grandfather or a village landlord, good health brings back the warmth of a fire, the smell of mulled cider, and the simple hope that tomorrow would come. This was the toast you heard in the quieter corners of the pub, usually late in the evening, when the laughter had softened and memories began to surface. To absent friends was a way of honouring those who couldn't be there, mates who'd moved away, brothers lost in the war, old drinking companions who'd passed on. It was especially common in veterans' clubs and British Legion halls, where portraits of fallen soldiers hung above the bar and silence fell naturally before the toast was spoken. Everyone stood, raised their glasses, and for a moment the room held its breath. It wasn't morbid, it was a way of keeping people alive in the only place that mattered: memory. The toast created space for grief without making a fuss, allowing men who rarely spoke about feelings to acknowledge loss together. Today, with fewer veterans' clubs and a culture less comfortable with collective mourning, the phrase has all but disappeared. We post tributes online instead, where absence is marked with emojis and hashtags. But for those who raised a glass in those smoky back rooms, to absent friends will always bring back the weight of silence, the clink of glass, and the knowledge that some people never really leave. If you heard this in a 1950s pub, you knew what was coming. Someone was about to drain their glass in one go, and they expected you to do the same. Down the hatch was borrowed from naval slang. Cargo went down the hatch, and so did your pint. It was a challenge wrapped in camaraderie, a way of saying, we're in this together, so let's finish it together. The toast was most popular among men who worked hard and drank harder in dockside pubs, factory clubs, and corner locals where rounds moved fast and no one nursed their beer. It was often accompanied by a grin, a slap on the back, and the unmistakable peer pressure of the group. You didn't want to be the one left holding a half-empty glass while everyone else had moved on. Today, drinking culture has shifted. People sip craft ales, pace themselves, worry about driving home. The idea of downing a pint on command feels reckless, even juvenile. But for those who remember, down the hatch brings back the burn of cheap bitter, the roar of approval, and the feeling that you were part of a crew that didn't leave anyone behind. This was the cheerful cousin of down the hatch, usually shouted just before last orders or at the end of a sing-song around the piano. Bottoms up meant exactly what it said. Tip your glass until the bottom faced the ceiling and nothing was left inside. It was a toast that demanded commitment, often delivered with a wink and a raised eyebrow. In post-war pubs where rationing had only just ended and people were eager to celebrate small freedoms, bottoms up became a rallying cry. It signalled the end of formality and the start of fun. No more sipping politely, just drink and be merry. The phrase was passed down from fathers to sons, shouted across dartboards and domino tables, and immortalised in music hall songs. It wasn't just about finishing your drink, it was about finishing it together, in one loud, messy, joyful moment. Today, the toast sounds quaint, even a bit silly. Younger drinkers favour cocktails and half pints, and the idea of sculling a warm pint of mild seems absurd. But for those who lived through it, bottoms up brings back the thrill of the last round, the taste of victory, and the unmistakable feeling that the night had truly begun. This delicate-looking submerged plant with feathery fronds was popular in ornamental ponds and aquariums until its destructive nature became apparent. Parrot's feather is banned from sale and illegal to plant under the 2014 aquatic plant ban, enforced by DEFRA under the Wildlife and Countryside Act 1981 and the Invasive Alien Species Order. Fines and potential prison terms apply to sellers caught stocking it. The plant produces emergent fronds that tangle in waterways, reduce oxygen levels, clog pumps, and displace native wildlife. Even small fragments can regenerate into full infestations, which is why it spreads so aggressively through British ponds and slow-moving rivers. Aquarists must not release aquarium cuttings into ponds or rivers under any circumstances. If you've inherited a pond containing parrot's feather, you're legally required to remove it completely and dispose of all plant material responsibly. The Environment Agency takes enforcement seriously. They've prosecuted garden centres and individuals for trading or spreading this invasive species. Made famous by Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca, this toast was already circulating in British pubs long before Hollywood got hold of it. Here's looking at you was a way of saying, I see you, I value you, and I'm glad you're here. It could be earnest or flirtatious, depending on who was saying it and how much they'd already had to drink. In smoky saloon bars and snugs, it became a favourite among couples and close friends. A quiet moment of connection in the middle of the noise. It wasn't loud or showy, it was personal. You said it while looking someone in the eye, and for a second, the rest of the pub disappeared. The toast carried a hint of old-fashioned charm, the kind you'd associate with trilby hats, polished shoes, and men who still opened doors for women. It was romantic without being soppy, affectionate without being awkward. Today, the phrase survives mostly as a movie quote, something people say ironically, or not at all. We've replaced eye contact with Instagram tags and clinking glasses with clinking phones. But for those who remember hearing it across a candlelit table or a worn wooden bar, here's looking at you brings back the warmth of being seen, the thrill of a stolen glance, and the simple pleasure of drinking with someone who mattered. This one was pure Scotland, bold, brash, and impossible to translate without losing its swagger. It means, here's to us, who's like us? Very few, and they're all dead. It was a toast that celebrated your own crew, your own corner of the world, with a healthy dose of dark humour. You'd hear it roared out in Glasgow pubs on Hogmanay, in Highland bars after a long day's work, and in any gathering where Scots wanted to remind themselves, and everyone else, that they were a breed apart. The toast wasn't arrogant, it was defiant. It said, we've survived, we're still here, and we're bloody proud of it. It was often accompanied by whiskey, bagpipes, and the kind of laughter that comes from people who've been through hard times together. The dialect itself was part of the charm. Gay few and Ada had rolled off the tongue like a challenge and a joke at the same time. Today, younger Scots are less likely to know the old phrases, and regional pride has softened in a globalised world. But for those who grew up hearing it, this toast brings back the sound of clinking drams, the warmth of a packed pub, and the unshakable feeling that no one could touch your crew. This was a toast that doubled as a blessing, spoken with genuine warmth and the unspoken promise that no one in the round would ever go thirsty. May your glass be ever full wasn't just about alcohol. It was about abundance, generosity, and the pub tradition of always looking after your mates. In tight-knit communities where everyone knew everyone and rounds were bought without question, this toast captured the spirit of collective care. It was often said by the landlord himself, raising a glass to his regulars at closing time, or by the eldest at a family gathering, offering good wishes to the younger generation. The phrase carried weight because it came from a time when a full glass meant more than a drink. It meant you were included, you were valued, you were home. In post-war Britain, when money was tight and luxuries were rare, the idea of a glass that never ran dry felt like a small miracle. Today, with rising prices and individualized orders, the communal pitcher has all but disappeared. People buy their own drinks, track their own tabs, and leave when they've had enough. But for those who remember, may your glass be ever full brings back the clink of topped-up pints, the warmth of a landlord's smile, and the knowledge that, in this place, you'd never be left out in the cold. This toast was delivered with a wink and a grin, usually at birthday parties, retirements, or family gatherings where someone older was being celebrated. It wished them a long life, but with a cheeky twist. One extra year to make up for all the trouble they'd caused. It was funny, affectionate, and just irreverent enough to get a laugh without causing offence. The toast perfectly captured the British knack for mixing sentiment with sarcasm, offering genuine good wishes while gently taking the piss. It was popular among uncles, grandfathers, and pub philosophers who enjoyed a bit of wordplay with their ale. The phrase acknowledged that life wasn't about being perfect. It was about living fully, messing up occasionally, and hopefully having time to set things right before the end. In crowded front rooms and corner pubs, it became a staple of celebratory toasts, a way of honouring someone without getting too sentimental. Today, longer toasts have fallen out of fashion. People prefer quick cheers and move on, and the art of a well-crafted, multi-line blessing has largely disappeared. But for those who heard this one, delivered by a beloved relative with a twinkle in their eye, it brings back the sound of laughter, the warmth of a family crowd, and the simple joy of wishing someone well, with just a little bit of mischief thrown in. This toast, though popularised later by The Simpsons, had roots that ran deep in British pub philosophy long before Homer Simpson ever uttered it. In working men's clubs and corner locales, drinkers understood the paradox instinctively. Beer could lift your spirits after a brutal shift, or drag you down if you let it. It could ease loneliness or deepen it. It could bring mates together or tear families apart. The toast was delivered with a knowing smile, often by the bloke at the bar who'd seen it all. The Friday night brawls, the Saturday morning regrets, the Sunday reconciliations over a hair of the dog. It wasn't cynical, it was honest. Beer was central to British life, for better and worse, and this toast acknowledged both sides without pretending otherwise. It thrived in an era when pubs were the heart of the community, where problems were aired, solved, forgotten, or made worse, all within the same four walls. Today, drinking culture is more cautious. We talk about units, health risks, and mindful consumption. The idea of celebrating beer as both poison and cure feels reckless, even irresponsible. But for those who remember the toast being raised in smoky back rooms, it brings back the taste of bitter truth, the comfort of shared weakness, and the strange wisdom of men who knew life wasn't simple and didn't pretend it was. This dark, almost gallows humour toast was most commonly heard among soldiers, sailors, and veterans, men who'd stared death in the face and come back with a grim sense of humour intact. It was raised in British Legion halls, regimental clubs, and dockside pubs, often late at night when the mood had turned reflective and someone wanted to break the tension with a shock. The toast wasn't disrespectful, it was a survival mechanism. By laughing at death, you took away some of its power. By acknowledging that someone at the table might not make it to the next reunion, you honoured the fragility of life without wallowing in it. It was blunt, brutal, and deeply British, a refusal to sugarcoat reality, paired with the defiant cheer of men who'd already survived the worst. The phrase echoed older military traditions, where toasts to fallen comrades were followed by toasts to those still standing, with the understanding that their turn might come soon. Today, this kind of dark humour has largely disappeared from public spaces. We're more careful with our words, more sensitive to trauma. But for those who heard it in the company of men who'd earned the right to say it, the toast brings back the clink of glasses, the weight of memory, and the strange comfort of laughing in the face of the inevitable. The word itself comes from the old French chiere, meaning face or expression, and by the 18th century it had come to mean good spirits and cheer. But in the British pub, cheers was never just a word, it was a declaration. When someone raised their glass and called it out, everyone else followed. The ritual was simple. Lift your pint, make eye contact, clink gently, and drink. It didn't matter if you were a docker or a shopkeeper, a regular or a stranger passing through. That single word made you equal. In packed saloon bars on Friday nights, the sound of glasses meeting and voices chorusing cheer created a kind of music, rough, warm, unmistakably British. Today, the word survives, but the ritual has faded. People order alone, pay with their phones, and sip in silence. The communal roar has been replaced by the quiet glow of screens. But for those who lived it, cheers will always bring back the weight of a cold glass, the buzz of a crowded room, and the feeling that, for a moment, you were exactly where you belonged. These 12 British pub toasts weren't just words. They were rituals, signals, and shared moments that defined an era. They captured the humour, warmth, defiance, and occasional crudeness of working-class life, offering a glimpse into a world where drinking was communal, toasts were expected, and everyone knew their part. Some were sweet, some were cheeky, and some crossed lines that seem unthinkable today. But all of them belonged to a time when pubs were the heart of British social life, and a well-timed toast could turn a quiet pint into a memory that lasted a lifetime.